So that's a rule I learned from the Babas, or readings about the Babas. You know, the holy men in India. They always like the chillum with two matchsticks to represent the duality of the universe. And their rules are: never touch the chillum with your mouth, because the chillum is like a representation of the God. And the herb we put in is a mind of the God. Smoke is the power of the God. And the feeling it gives you is a blessing of the God. Need some power right now. Power of the God. Of the gods. Move this mucus out of my lungs. Ew. Got on my freaking car. I gotta clean this up soon. But yeah, they have two rules. Just don't touch the chillum with your mouth, and always filter the chillum with a wet cloth, a wet thin little cloth, to be like a bong. So it goes through the wet cloth and catches all the ash and filters through the water a little bit. That removes the tar. That's why it's better to smoke through a bong. So I don't like to smoke. I put weed in a bong. I put the joint in the bong. That way I don't have to keep lighting it. Keep it clean. Free from that butane flame and all the toxins in the fire. But yeah, the two matchsticks represent the duality of the world, heaven and earth, or spirit and matter, or like the Hindus say, consciousness and energy. So that's the duality of the world. Oh goodness. And that is represented by this drawing right here. This symbol right here of the Star of David. It represents the upright and the inverted triangles. And the dot in middle is representing the union. It's a Hindu thing. So it represents the man, the woman, and the child, basically. And I'll show it better in this picture right here. So this is the upright and the downward triangle separated. And you can see that I put the sun up there and the moon and the stars down there. That's because the sun represents the same thing as the masculine energy, and the moon represents the same thing as the feminine energy, whereas the stars are the children's energy, and they all stick together in the night sky, whereas in the morning sky it's only the sun. Similarly, you see a human body. What is the most prominent part of the man? It is the upper part of the body, right? The shoulders, the chest, the arms, and the head, and the beard. So that whole thing is like a triangle, upright triangle. So the upper part of the body, right? The head. Whereas here we see the hips. Here we see the shoulders and the head. And here we see the hips and the legs. And those represent the female, because that's a predominant part of the female body. The men are usually hunters and gatherers, so they have upper body strength. And women are birthers and nurturers of kids, who usually do more endurance type of activities, not so much strength type of activities, physical strength type of activities, power burst strength activities, but more endurance activities. So they have more lower body strength and more weight in the lower body, and their center of gravity, or their most predominant part of the body, are the hips, whereas men are more straight and narrow. So that's the duality of the world. It also represents death and life. So this is death. The sun feels like death on very hot days, and life. Even though sun gives life, it also represents a masculine energy, which is more to do with death and wisdom, whereas woman is to do more with life and matter and energy and so forth, making food and nourishing everybody. So that's the duality. And that duality of this Star of David, or the Hindu union of Shiva and Shakti, the Shiva being the consciousness and Shakti being the matter, or the female consort of Shiva in the stories. So that duality is also represented in the breath, just like it's represented in adult and child, or man and woman, or heaven and earth, or the left side of the body, the feminine side, and the right side of the body. And that makes sense if you think about it. Even my one of my eyes is bigger than the other, and one of my testicles is bigger than the other, but on the left side of the body you have organs such as, well, you have the two sides of the brain obviously, but you also have the organs of the body, such as you have the stomach. So the stomach is divided into the left side and the center and the middle, and in the middle and the center and towards the right side you have the pyloric sphincter, and that's where the acid gets released into, right past it actually, but that's where the hydrochloric acid basically churns right towards the center of the stomach. It churns all the food and with the acid. So that's the masculine side. But on the feminine side you have the heart, and you have the stomach, the part of the stomach which is a sac, the opening part of the stomach where it holds all the food while it digests the tries to digest the ones lower towards the right of the stomach, because the stomach is like this, it's kind of like twisted sideways. So on the right side you have the liver, which also has a lot of secretions and does a lot of work transferring chemicals and stuff and killing poisons. Same thing, killing, death. Whereas in the left side you also have the heart, which takes in all the blood and takes in the oxygen from the blood, and you have the stomach, which takes in the food. You have the pancreas, which releases secretions which nourish or help in the digestion process. Whereas on the right side, I believe you have the pancreas and spleen. Okay, one's on the right side and releases digestive enzymes, and the other one also releases enzymes, but they're more feminine in general. Okay, so I just showed you how liver is on the right side, where liver is supposed to be the masculine organ, and you have the heart on the left side, which is the feminine organ, and the stomach. So I don't know all my physiology that well, but you see, the right hand is usually stronger than the left hand. The right hand represents giving, left hand receiving, male and female. And the male is also represented by the head, because it said men have more spirit, or more not consciousness, but more spirit, which is how knowledge is gained, through the spiritual efforts of men and women, who are more logically inclined and spiritually instead of materialistically inclined. Matter being a very feminine thing, they're more materialistically inclined in general, whereas men are more philosophically inclined. So that's the duality, and it's same to do with the breath. The breath, when you inhale, it's a feminine energy, and when you exhale, it's a masculine.